scary frame, housing someone who seemed not to have much longer to live. We told him to stay in New York, not to go back to a city where there'd be thousands of miles between us. We told him if he got on his scheduled flight and went back to Los Angeles, he'd probably end up dead. We had no idea how right we were. There's a version of this that could easily have begun, "I wish you had been able to meet my late friend Carter Stout." Thank goodness that's not the version I find myself writing. When we told Carter that night that he was likely to die sooner rather than later, he wiped the tears from his face, solemnly nodded, and sincerely agreed with us. He said he'd stay in town. He was lying. He went back to Los Angeles. He lived to tell the tale of what happened next. Shockingly and happily, he beat the odds. It says a lot about Carter that when he asked me if I wanted him to change my name in this stunning memoir, and I told him he didn't have to, he did anyway. I've been pretty much an open book about my own alcoholism and drug addiction. When he sent me the draft of his book to read, I was now Shane. That's perfect, I thought. Not only did he give me a name that's a hybrid of an Alan Ladd classic and a character from Mean Girls, but that simple move sums up Carter, one of the dearest friends I've ever known, taking better care of a pal than he took of himself, taking better care of me than I asked him to. Lost in Ghost Town is a terrifying, hilarious, and ultimately moving cautionary tale. Like a modern-day Icarus, Carter was born privileged, had to escape from a labyrinth, and flew too close to the sun. However, unlike Icarus, the labyrinth Stout escaped from was one of his own creation, and he miraculously survived to share his tale with the rest of us. He covers the distance from the top to the bottom unsparingly in this gripping, upsetting, beautifully written memoir. Carter has pulled off the trick of being so ruthlessly specific that his tale becomes universal. You might end up relating to it because of your own addictions, whether those addictions are to alcohol and drugs, or food, shopping, sex, toxic relationships, pornography, gambling, and the list goes on. Sadly, I can't think of anybody I'm close with who hasn't either struggled with addiction or loved somebody who's battled it. Get ready to be drawn into this harrowing account of pain, addiction, survival, and hope. My copy will sit proudly on my bookshelf in a selection alongside David Carr's The Night of the Gun, Mary Carr's Lit, and Jerry Stahl's Permanent Midnight. How's Carter doing? I know how to answer that question nowadays, even though I still don't see him 24/7, and he still lives across the country. My friend Carter's doing better. My friend Carter's doing a lot better. Jonathan Mark Sherman, playwright, Things We Want, New York, August 2019. Prologue. So this is how it ends. The door to the alleyway opened, and I could hear soft footsteps coming down the stairs. No wonder gangsters wore sneakers, better for sneaking up on anyone who crossed them. If I made a sound, I would die. I'd be murdered on the cold basement floor. I'd seen the bloodstains on the sidewalks of Ghost Town and watched the wailing mothers and grandmothers try to scrub them away. This was real. I thought of my mother and how sad she would be. What would the papers say? Former film producer found dead in gang-style execution. And what would they say at my funeral? All those old friends. Perhaps they'd seen it coming. He couldn't get out of his own way. It was the drugs. The drugs finally got him. Such a waste. He was a good guy in his prime. He used to make me laugh. How could he fall so far? He had everything in the world going for him. No silver spoon or diploma or charisma could protect me from a bullet fired at close range. Would it hurt? Would it be over before I even heard the shot? I braced myself for a muzzle flash and held my breath. The footsteps came closer. "Hollywood, you down here?"